Hello everyone. If any of you've seen my other reviews, particularly the one on this bike, or the two on this bike and the previous one, and liked it, then thank you very much for that. I appreciate that. Quite a lot of interesting bikes. This one, the Carrera Crossfire E 2.0, I've done the review on it, but what I'm going to do now is replace this bar here that holds the handlebars on. I can't call it a riser because it doesn't raise it, but what I've done, I bought a riser, so I want the handlebars higher and slightly closer to me. So this particular type of stock, you might call it here, it's adjustable downwards by taking some of these spacer rings off. Take the cap off, take this head off, take some of those out of the way, put that back, move the ones you've taken out to the top, cap back on. It's as easy as that really, but you can't make it any taller. So you can get a higher stock, but it comes with the forks, which is a bit ridiculous. So what I'm going to do, I've bought this extension thing. It cost me £23 something from Amazon. If you've watched the other videos, then you know we've also got the women's version of this exact same bike. So I bought two of these because I bought one for that one as well. So let's have a look what's in the packet. It just arrived this morning. I've been waiting to do this video for a while. So I'll open it here, see what's in the pack. I'm going to have a look at fitting it. It took a few days because I got it from somebody called TREDZ, TREDZ, and they have to order it in. I did quite a bit of research to find out which one to get. There's different lengths, different sizes. First one I bought from a local shop was actually the wrong size for the handlebars. We've got oversized handlebars here, and there are two sizes, so these are those things. You see they're both identical there. So we'll pick on this one, I think. Just take it out of the pack. So there we go. This is adjustable stem system EX. This bit here is where the handlebars go, and the last one I bought was a 25.4 millimeters, which is an inch, and that is a standard handlebar. But if you notice on this, it swells up near the beginning, near the middle there. That's actually 31.8, I think it is. So this is very nearly a 32 mil hole here, so that's the right one for it. It can be angled from straight right up to about 60 degrees, which is great. So it goes that way around if you like, in terms of the bike here. That goes on the stem from the front wheel, and this allows you then to raise and also bring it closer to you because it's on this pivot here, of course. So it'll come like this, it'll come closer to me and a bit higher, which just makes it a little bit more comfortable when you riding leisurely with tips of fingers on one handle kind of thing, and that should be it. So the only tools you should need for this really is some Allen keys. Basically about it, and snippers to get this thing off. Well, got a knife there actually. Oh no, I've got scissors. Handy tools to carry with you, these things. If you can see them in the shot there, it's even better. Et pair of scissors. Exciting stuff this, right, there we go, so that's that. One more. Never do it towards yourself. If you noticed in the other video, I had some injuries after falling off this bike. I've just been to the fracture clinic and got the thing off today. It's healed okay, my finger. Shouldn't be messing about with that really, should we? Let's leave that there. Okay, so that's the unit itself. I've got a set of Allen keys here, which I also carry around with me. It's also got a Phillips screwdriver there, and a flat blade screwdriver, really handy. And of course that multi-tool. Okay, so what we've got to do now is take the other handlebar fitting off. So I'm going to pull that across a little bit closer, so we can have a look, and let's just have a little look here. So I'm going to take my computer off, that's got to go back on again. The control unit for the electric is here, that's got to come off. it's held on very simply by two screws which are actually underneath. These here allow you to pivot this by about 30 degrees. Just under there there's another screw that goes into a nut that holds this onto the handlebar, and that nut is kind of free flowing, so you have to watch it doesn't drop out when you put the thing back on again. That can just hang out of the way. What I have to do then, of course, is undo those bolts there, top two and the bottom two, which have spacers on them because they're longer than necessary because I've fitted this adapter for the computer. Once we've done that, this stem should be free to take off then. There's a very tiny rubber bung in there, which you just pull that out now. There we go, really tiny, so we don't lose that. So I'm going to put it there. It seems to want to roll off onto the floor. Right away, I'll put it there. Right, okay. That's an Allen key. We'll take that off in a minute. Take this cap off, undo those two bolts, which I've noticed on many bikes are in this orientation, one on one side, one on the other. Not the case on replacement. Bear in mind that's come from the manufacturer, as indeed as this. I think I'm going to go with the manufacturer and keep it on one side. I don't see any reason why they should be on both. There's nothing uneven about it. Anyway, take that off, put this back on, leaving the spacers as they are, certainly at the top. Put the handlebar on, and that's how simple it should be. Swapped a radiator for somebody yesterday. That should have been a simple job as well. Every job is a simple job. Okay, so to start I'm going to take this off, and for that I've got a longer Allen key than is in that multi-tool there. So undo these two underneath. It's a 3mm Allen key. If I measure it with a vernier caliper, it comes back as 2.3mm, which is a bit weird. Mind you, it's probably not a metric size actually. There's the screw on that little screw there. And the one on the other side. Ultra side. You see that's coming loose already. These two brackets are soft plastic and they are well capable of bending sufficiently, as you might expect, to take them off. Bear in mind the nuts are still inside. One's trying to fall out right now actually. So just push that out over there, one out over there. That's it now. I'll turn this round a little bit. You can see the nuts there. There's one there and there's one on this side. Now that's already trying to fall out a little bit, so when you put it back on again you just have to make sure, just point it with something just to make sure it goes back in when you put the screw back in again. If I leave this dangling, well, it won't. I don't think it will be okay because I'm going to take the handlebars off in a minute. So I might encourage. Okay, it's alright, seems to be staying there. Right, okay. So let's get these off now. My multi-tool, I think it is this one. Let's have a look. It's either that one or the other one. That's too big enough. That one's just right. Right, so I'm going to slacken these off like you'd do maybe a cylinder head, or do them at odd angles. Come on, get in. Get in, go and get in. I think your wrist is supposed to crack. Right, that's that one. Cable's in the way. You notice also the orientation of the handlebars to you in respect to where the handlebar, the brake levers are, and the gear levers and everything else. You can see here there's a nice little target there which helps you as a guide, so you can see it centrally between the hole there, the gap, and also which way it's, you know, which orientation it is. Facing up, it's quite useful when you're refitting. Not far I've done already. Right, that's slackening off nicely. Now the only thing holding the handlebars to the bike at the moment are all of the cables, and since they're all strong cables, we've got hydraulics for the brakes and we've got the gear cables. They're strong enough just to let the handlebars hang rested across the front wheel there actually, so that won't be a problem. Don't need any special supports or anything there. I'm just going to have to watch out for these spacers which are going to drop out when I do these. I appreciate my hands right in the way there, but there's not a lot to see just yet. Right, there's one out. There goes the other. So the only the top one's holding the bracket on, which is holding the handlebar in place at the moment. So that'll come off in a sec. Come on, come on. There we go. And the beauty about these adapters, because they're made to fit different bikes, is where the screws go through there, you can see it's a slot. So it's adjustable to any width for these things really, which is great, because I don't know if this is identical. In fact, no it isn't, look at that. So, hopefully, yeah, that's just going to fit within the extremes, you see. That's pretty good there. I'd hate to lose the, every ride I've ever been on this bike and the one before, I have on this IG Sport little computer. So I'd hate to lose the ability to use that. I'd have to find a different mount. But that's perfect. So let's just get these top two off. Use the originals, screws, keep those there. There we go. So that's off. And that's just a very simple bracket there. That's all that is. Handlebars are very light, aluminium. So I'm just going to position those down here now. Out of the way. Right, you can wait there. Okay. So now we've got to take this off. The stock head. Let's see if we can zoom in touch. Okay. First of all, let's take the cap out. It's just got to be smaller than that. I think that's about 3 mil, 4 mil. Yep, 4 mil. There we go. Okay. That's just a cover basically. That's all that is there, just an Allen screw and that cover. And now for the main stock. This of course is aligned with the wheel, and the way the angle is here I can see it aligned with the wheel, and that's fine. I'm going to keep it there to use as a guide. Well, I can use that as a guide to put the new one on. Slacken off those. There we go. So that's the old one. That's off. I doubt we'll have a use for that. And this is the spacer arrangement here, so if you want to drop your handlebars, take some of these off put them down at the bottom, put that back on again, that bracket, and put these on the top. But sadly, as I say, you can't make it any higher without getting a new one of these, which comes with the top of the shock absorber stock there. So that's that. Right, all we need to do now is fit the new one. So, now luckily this one, if you notice, has all the torque settings. Now I've worked with engineering equipment for many years. I haven't got a torque wrench this small because I don't do that work anymore, but I know roughly what 12-13 Newton meters is, and also 5 Newton meters, which is for these here. So I will use my own experience. That's 8 on that one to make sure they're fastened okay. So I'm going to slacken these off, pop it on there, take this bracket off the front. I have no idea what this camera works like. It's too close. I've got no space here against the back of the camera. So I'm going to slacken off these two here now and pop it on. And they're a different Allen key size, they're slightly bigger. Interesting. Okay, so as you might expect, they're already quite slack. Have to get the right way up, of course. This is that way, so it's going to be around this way. Put on, and there we go. I'm aligning it with the tyre now. I can see the tyre underneath. Do a quick, let's get it quite stiff, and then we'll just align it properly. Right, that's about it okay now. I'll show you what I'm doing there. So I've got the tyre down below, and I need to align that so that it's accurate with the tyre there. Right, okay, it's moving. So you can see the idea, that's what I'm going to do anyway. I'm going to tighten up a little bit more again and finalise that, firm it up a touch. Somebody was moving the goalposts. Of course, this can be done even with the handlebars in place, so it's no big deal if it's not absolutely accurate. I can make sure of that a bit later on. Okay, that's pretty good. See what I mean about these things? Oh dear. Right, that's about 5 Newton meters there. I'm not too far off, certainly not under tightened, and wouldn't say over tightened either actually. That was a 5mm key. So that's on, that's done. So before we go any further, let's put this cap back on again. Again, this doesn't stop you adjusting this because it's only a cover, right? It doesn't clamp anything into place except the top itself. You'll be able to hear the local brethren outside there. And there's not a lot of pressure needed for that. That's that one done. And before we lose it, let's put this little rubber back in place. It's not absolutely necessary. Nothing's going to rust. No water can get into the screw itself. The screw's aluminium and well painted inside, but it's just a nice little finish. There you go. So that's done. Now we have to just put the handlebar on, and then we can adjust as we see fit. It's the bigger one. Yeah, that's the bigger one. So this is this one. So that's They're 4mm, that's 5mm. Of course, with smaller diameter, it's less pressure to get the same torque on that. This is only a 5 Newton meter torque, so I won't be over tightening this. But of course, you don't want your handlebars slipping or falling off. Most people have a feel for how something should be tightened. Okay. I'll zoom out again in a sec. If you haven't watched the other review, there are 2 reviews there. They look identical. They're posted 2 days apart. The problem is I had some extra clips to put in. I forgot to do it on the first one. It's only a 4-minute extra. 4 minutes extra for the other one. But in the second one, the 35-minute one, there's a short ride that shows you the display active, and you can hear the motor joining in the fun as you start to pedal and speed up. And the other segment I added was the removal and refitting of the battery. It looks more complicated because I mustn't have aligned it properly to try and get it back on again. It took me a bit longer than usual. It should be just a straightforward on and in. So, but it also talks about the battery, and sometimes when the thing times out after 10 minutes of lack of use, the power doesn't appear to come back on again, even though the display does. And it should, I tell you what the problem is with that and how to deal with it. It's not actually a fault or anything, it's just a minor inconvenience. But if you don't expect it, like us on our first ride, we'd done 14 miles, stopped for a break, couldn't get the power working again, even though it suggested it was. And in the end, after struggling for a bit, we changed the batteries over between the bikes because they're identical. And for some reason it started working. And then we eventually figured out that it was because if it times out the battery, and this thing here is supposed to be an on-off switch. If you pull up somewhere, press that, it'll go off. Press it again, it comes back on. Everything shows up as normal, but it doesn't work. So forget that. Use the battery on-off switch. Looks like a power indicator switch, but it's actually an on-off switch. Right, okay, so to put this back on, just leave that out of the way for a second. There you go again. And of course, if I raise this up a bit, then the angle of the brake handles and things would need to be changed, or I can simply just turn this around a little bit, depends where you need it. So let's get that cap back on here. The new cap, you don't need the bolts, the bottom ones, because we need longer bolts for the bottom one, so we can get the bike computer on. And I didn't zoom out, did I? So I'll just do that. That's a two-handed job because of where this is balanced. I don't want the camera falling over. Right, there we go. It's a bit of a drop. Bit of a Heath Robertson. We've got a ladder that's a piece of wood clamped to two of the rungs. And a tripod's just sat on that. So there we go. The only difference I can see really is this is gloss black and the other was matte black, so possibly a bit annoying for some, but it stands out maybe as a new part or something, I don't know. Right, so they're in enough now to stop it falling out. I'll just take a tiny bit more than that, put the bottom ones in there. There we go, that's that. Now again, we'll be using that alignment tool there to see where we are. I'm going to put another light on actually. I don't think this is very good. It'll be about 10 a.m. Okay. Right, so the extensions and this bracket and the spacer bars down there now. Is that the same? Yep. Sure-ish. Let's do it by hand first. So there's one. You've probably discovered by now, not a bad idea to play this at least 1.25 speed or maybe even 1.5. Get through it a little bit quicker. I think you can hear speaking on 1.25, maybe even a 1.5 in a squeaky voice. Fingers are greasy. This came with some kind of lubricant on it as well to protect any metalwork, I dare say, even though it's well painted. It's very well protected. Just check the brake handles there, see if they're roughly where I normally expect them to be, and they are, that's fine. Using this alignment gadget here, which is around about just there, just before halfway point of the sphere. The only problem with short Allen keys is when they hit something while you're trying to turn the things. I do have some longer ones, I should use those perhaps. But I like to use the tools I carry with me while I'm out on the bike. And they come in very handy because we go with a group at the weekends quite often, and occasionally, not every time because they all seem to be looking after their bikes, but every so often you have an issue. And anyone with tools, bicycle repairman jumps in and there you go, problem solved. In the middle, dead center. So you can see how easy it is to do this. As long as you only need 3 Allen keys. You need a 5mm, a 4mm for these, and then a 3mm for the computer itself. Done. That's done. 5 Newton meters, these, next to nothing. That's done. that's done. There we go. Everything's done. Now then, let's just get this bike computer back on. So again, the nuts, just push that one back in place there because it needs to go further into a line properly. I'll probably have to do it again when it's on. Cables either side of the mount. I'm just going to pull these open so we put them back around. Handlebars, there we go, there's one. There's number two. Right, that nut wants to fall back towards out again, so I'll probably have to hold that with something when I push this in. Better. Because this one's kind of angled down a touch, it's in this orientation. It's okay, it's where it needs to be. Again, just a quick look there. Let's see what's going on. Just screw this in before I pull it back down. That's where that's going to be. Perfect. Right, the big moment now. What's the best way to do this? Turn around that way a touch. This way. You know that? Can you see that? Yes, you can. Let's zoom in a touch. Okay. So is this 4? I think. No, it was a 5. We need a 5 hertz. Right, so that's a 5 This is a bit more torque. This one's 13 to, well, 12 to 13 Newton meters. Okay, so I'm just going to open this, slacken it off. It's at 0 at the moment, which is practically horizontal. That's it, it's slack now, so now I'm going to turn it up. See how it's coming up and towards me. Now this screen, you know, it's got 30-degree movement, and you don't want it facing you too much because you get reflections of things, so I'll flatten that out a little bit in a sec. But already I can see that's coming towards me. If I twist the handlebars back around a little bit more, then I'll have the same orientation here. So that looks pretty good. I'm going to try that at, what's that, 40 degrees? Yep, there we are. So this 13 Newton meters, 12 to 13, 5 mil Allen key. That's about there, that's fine. Let's just slacken this off and turn it a touch. that's interesting. So those cables now, they're bent forwards over the top of this as they were before, but that's restricting the amount of movement in this. So what I'll do later is I'll take this back off again. Probably have to take the handlebars off so that these cables can go underneath then here, so they'll come straight out in that case, and I'll be able to angle this. So I'll do that later on, that's no problem. No job is thread forward, you know. So what I'm going to do now is just slacken off again these handlebars, touch and swivel them with a 4mm. I can either swivel the handlebars around. Yeah, that's right, because that would raise this. Or I can just slacken all of these things off and just move them around a touch. I'm going to do it this way. It's easier for starters, only for bolts to undo, or to slacken off, I should say, not to undo. So that allows you to raise it and bring it towards you, but without changing the orientation of everything that you use, or the kit on the bars. Rotate that, come on, a little bit more. The good thing is, the obvious thing is that when you do replace this, there's so many adjustments that you can do to get it perfect, exactly where you want it. It's quite important, as you know, when you go out for a ride. And it's solved the computer problem there as well. Because the handlebars are angled, it's brought the handles even closer to me. It's put the brakes back where they belong, but it's higher, it's closer to me, and this angle is now okay, so I don't need to adjust that, I don't need to take those things off. I just need to tighten this back up again. What I'm going to do is a review on the Fuel bike carrier. This is quite a robust thing. It goes on a tow bar and it will carry up to 40 kilograms of bikes. Now with these two bikes, our two bikes here, they're just over that limit, but if you take the batteries off, which are 2.5 kilograms each, the whole load comes down by 5k, and that means the load is 39.5 kilograms, so it's well within the specification of the carrier, but it's a brilliant carrier. We use it a lot. Put both of these bikes on it, we can go anywhere. I've got to put that down. Yeah. That, my friend, is perfect. There we go. And this now is facing me, which is better. This one's very easy to swallow. Just put the battery on and show you. This is in my other video, but I'll just switch that on. There you go. There's the battery. And that is an on-off switch, not just a tester. Use that if the thing times out, switch it off with that back on again. You can see that's nice and bright. What have we done so far? 625 miles on this bike since I bought it. There's the different power levels. Each one adds a few more watts to it, if you like. The motor will, I think the way it works actually, this is 250 watts, 300, 350 and 400. So if you're going along on the flat and you just want some assistance against the wind or something, you just leave it on this. There's 52-mile range there. It's actually more than that, because when you get down to practically zero, we'll see the other review for that, but it shoots up. If you're going up to a hill, just increase the current and it'll get you up there, no problem, up to almost a 1 in 10 hill, which is very good. If you're thinking of buying one of these bikes, this is a Carrera Crossfire. It's my third Carrera bike. I wouldn't have anything else actually, I don't think. No point in spending 3,000 quid on a bike. This was 1,400 brand new, so it was the female version. It's brilliant. We've been out many times, well, 600 odd miles as you can see there. So, but that's how to change the stock anyway, which the riding position is pretty good anyway on this, but now it's even better. So I can't wait to try this outside now. Anyway, if you're still there after 40 minutes, I've no idea why, but thank you very much for watching anyway, and cheers. See you in the next one.